From the very beginning, Paul Carus was very, very interested in seeing that religion and science would be compatible. He thought that a lot of people were leaving the religions because of the developments in science, and he thought that it was impossible to have a world that would be without religion. Paul Carus was invited to LaSalle, Illinois, because of Mr. Hegler, who was a manufacturer of zinc in the Midwest and was extremely interested in starting a press to publish on the leading issues of the day, especially in regards to science and religion. And so Mr. Hegler invited Paul Carus to tutor his children in German and to write for the press. After Paul got started in publishing here in open court, he decided that it would be important to participate in the Parliament of Religions in Chicago, held in connection with the Columbian Exposition, the World's Fair. And he gave an address called Science and Religious Revelation. And at that Parliament, he became extremely passionate about the conversations with the leading world figures in other religions, especially the Eastern religious leaders. As a result of the Parliament and meeting Shaku Soyen, one of the leading Japanese Buddhists who was at the Parliament and who visited the Hegler-Carus mansion in LaSalle, he decided that it would be extremely important to introduce Buddhism into the West. So he compiled the scriptures from Buddhism from all different parts of the world in texts and put together a book called The Gospel of Buddha, similar in form to the four Gospels of the Christian Bible, translated into most of the world languages and was used in Buddhist schools. Once he started corresponding with the figures that he had met at the Parliament, Paul Carus took an extreme interest in the dialogue between the various religions, all the world religions. And therefore, he met with Charles Bonney, who organized the 1893 Parliament, in order to have a continuing Parliament, in order to meet again. But even though he tried for the next 30 years, he was unsuccessful, and they never did meet again. Having read most of Paul Carus's work, who was my grandfather, I recognized the importance of fulfilling his lifelong dream of continuing the parliaments. So when I heard about the reconvening of a possible parliament in 1993, I decided that it would be appropriate that I participate in the board. My grandfather felt that the understanding of world religions was extremely important 110 years ago. And now more than ever, I think, as the world is shrinking, as we become a global village, it becomes extremely important that we live together in peace, and therefore we need to understand each other's cultural traditions, most importantly the religious traditions. My family has decided to commit themselves to establishing an award called the Paul Carus Award, awarded by the Council of the Parliament of World Religions every 5 years for that individual who exercises and develops the greatest interreligious understanding. We feel that such an award will draw the attention of the world towards the importance of interreligious understanding. Like the Nobel Prize draws attention to the various sciences and the importance of cutting-edge developments in science. I think it's really exciting that they're not only going to have a parliament, but they're going to have an organization of cities around the world that will continue the local dialogue between religions here, like they've started in Chicago and Rogers Park and other parts of the city. So it's a combination of localism and globalism, carrying the mission of interreligious understanding around the world, which is really, really exciting. Accordingly, I would like to quote from my grandfather from his book, which he wrote in 1916, and actually this chapter shortly after the Parliament of 1893. The Parliament of Religions is undoubtedly the most noteworthy event of modern times. It is evident that from its date we shall have to begin a new era in the evolution of man's religious life. Whether or not the Parliament of Religions be repeated, whether or not its work will be continued, the fact remains that this Congress at Chicago will exert a lasting influence upon the religious intelligence of mankind. It has stirred the spirits, stimulated mental growth, and given direction to man's further evolution. It is by no means an agnostic movement, for it is carried on the wings of a religious faith and positive certainty.